Hi, this is Matt, and you're listening to Bluegrass Jam Along, the podcast for anyone and everyone who plays bluegrass. Hey everybody, welcome back to Bluegrass Jam Along. This is the Monday morning Bluegrass Briefing for the 27th of March 2023. A couple of bits of podcast news before we crack on. First is that there are 4 tracks for a tune called Pear Tree up on the podcast now. They're on all the platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you want them. That's the most recent set of tracks. Coming this week on Wednesday, I've got a brilliant interview with Noam Pikelny, who you might know from Punch Brothers, but he's in a brand new band called Mighty Poplar with Chris Eldridge, Greg Garrison, Andrew Marlin and Alex Hargraves, and their record is out this week and it is brilliant. And it's a really interesting interview with Noam, all about making that record, so what inspired them. So do check out for that on Wednesday, look out for that. And sign up for the mailing list. Bottom of the homepage of the website, link in bio on Instagram, show notes here, if you want me to let you know when that's out, because I will do that. One final thing, if you could, wherever you get your podcasts from, if you could just give this podcast a rating, or even if you can be bothered, a review, because stuff like that really helps put it in front of more people on the podcast apps, and that would be brilliant for me, and it doesn't cost you anything. It will only take 2 seconds. So please do review and rate the podcast if you get a chance. Right, that's enough talking. We will crack on. I mean, I said it's enough talking. This entire episode's talking, so it's not enough talking. Here comes Church Street News. So just one thing in Church Street News this week, and it is Fretboard Summit, a 3-day guitar festival from Fretboard Journal and Old Town School, which is coming up August 24th to 26th this year. And it's just another one of those long lists of things I sit on this side of the Atlantic and drool at, thinking, God, if I was closer, I'd go to that. It's basically 3 days of masterclasses, instrument histories and interviews, workshops, exhibits, concerts, loads and loads of handmade guitars. It's a really cool thing. I've been looking at past ones online and just sort of drooling, and I think it could be a really cool thing. Go to Fretboard Summit's website, which I'll stick a link in the show notes, but that looks like such a great thing to check out. Fretboard Summit, and Fretboard Journal is a fantastic thing as well. So yeah, if you don't know Fretboard Journal, go and look at that. It's an amazing magazine full of sort of info and beautiful features about instruments, so go check that out. But that is it for this week's Church Street News. Which brings us on to the new segment called The Grass is New, where we talk about new releases. So there's a few things. Mighty Poplar's record is out this Friday, and as I said earlier, there's an interview with Noam coming about that on Wednesday, so that's great. I've listened to that already. I'm really looking forward to Rachel Bayman's Common Nation of Sorrow record, which is also out this Friday. Been listening to some bits of hers recently and really getting into that, so yeah, that's going to be good. New record by Natalie Padilla, I mentioned before, called Montana Wildflower, which is out on Friday. There's a new feature I'm going to add to this podcast, and I'll stick a link in the show notes. I'm going to do a little playlist every week of a few of the things I mention on Spotify and just stick a link to it. So I'm going to put one of her tracks in there because she's great. It's I've really enjoyed listening to the bit of that I've heard so far. Also, Nickel Creek Celebrants is out now. After all the stuff, all the sort of build-up and stuff, that record is now out. It came out on Friday. There's loads of tour dates as well. Go and see them if you can. I saw them here in London and it was astonishing. I mean, yes, go and see Nickel Creek. That's all I can say. And then I've been asking people to get in touch through my email address via these sort of these briefing episodes, and people have, and it's been great. And I got an email from somebody called Alex Graff. Says, "Hi Matt, I'm a new listener of your podcast and really been enjoying the interviews. The Doc Watson 100th birthday episodes were great. So many great folks you were able to talk to. Thanks for that. I'm writing today to let you know I'm releasing an album on the 7th of April, Sagebrush Continuum. The record features Evan Suter, an awesome bass player I work with here in Durango, where I'm based, and Jacob Jolliffe on mandolin. It's a bluegrass trio that pushes the edge of bluegrass and jazz." And he pointed me at the first single off that, which is called Back Up and Push, classic fiddle tune. I'm sure you all know, one of my favourite fiddle tunes of all time. So go and listen to that. I'm going to stick a link in the show notes, but it's also going to go on the playlist. I think I might just call that playlist The Grass is New. A, to save confusing people, and B, to save me having to think of another name for it. But yeah, every week I'm going to stick half a dozen new tracks in a playlist and add them to the show notes. But Alex's track is great. I've really enjoyed it. So looking forward to the record, but go and listen to Back Up and Push. That's, really nice, really good stuff. That's it for The Grass is New. So here we go with Scroll on Buddy, which is just something every week that I've found on social media that made me smile, or I found interesting, or I thought you'd like to know about. And this week it's banjo player Alison Brown, and she has a new track called Foggy Morning Breaking that she co-wrote with Steve Martin. That's Steve Martin, who is a comedian and a banjo player and is remarkably good at both of those things. And I just saw it pop up on social media, and there was a post where she said it was a joy writing this tune with Steve, and it was recorded with Steve, Sierra Hull, Todd Phillips, Stuart Duncan and Chris Eldridge, which is a pretty decent group of musicians, if you have ever seen one. And it's the latest single from her record On Banjo. And I'll put a link in the show notes, but I will also stick that in the playlist as well. So yeah, Alison Brown, really good track with Steve Martin and just a great bunch of musicians. And then it's on just to the bits that I've been listening to this week. I've been listening to a lot to the Ben Garnett record that I talked about last week. Really sort of getting into that. It's a really interesting listen, and I think will keep unfolding in my ears as I listen to it more. But yeah, I've stuck a track from that on the playlist too. Really been enjoying that. And I've also just been diving back into the Billy Strings Me and Dad record. It's so good. It's like, I don't know, just something really grounding and like joyous, I guess, is the word. Really joyous about that. And the version of Pear Tree on there is phenomenal. But yeah, that's what I've been listening to this week. Do get in touch and let me know what you're listening to. But that's it for this week's briefing. As always, sign up for the mailing list. I spoke about that at the top. But do go and give me your email address and I can let you know when all the new stuff's out. Check out the website for a list of all the interview episodes, for things like chord charts for all the fiddle tunes. That's it. Feels like it's flown by. That is it for this week. Do, as always, get in touch. Tell me what you've got coming up. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me anything. I don't mind. Matt@bluegrassjamalong.com. I would love to hear from you. Yeah, that's it for this week's briefing. Have a great week, everybody, and happy picking.